welcome to Never Heard It, the show where I review classic albums that I never got around to listening to. And this week I brought along a friend. My guest is a painter, beat maker, label owner, photographer, and probably too many other things to name. He's also a previous guest on Never Heard It, where we talked about House of Pain's self-titled album. And no cap, it's one of my favorite episodes, so you should go check that out. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome NorthernDraw. What's up?
Wow. Free, thank you so much for the wonderful intro. And if this is your first time tuning into Free Tillman's YouTube stuff, definitely check him out. He has lots of good content, multiple shows. I really enjoy all of it. And check out his music and internet presence. He's out there.
Ooh. Thanks, man. So first question I have to ask is why is it you've never heard hardcore?
I don't know why I listened to this. I've actually never listened to a lot of East Coast. I do listen to East Coast stuff, but I think when I was growing up, I listened to a lot of like West Coast underground California rap because I think it's a lot more closer in proximity. And, you know, but still I love like Mobb Deep and Biggie. And so for the listeners out there, they might criticize me because my, you know, Junior Mafia knowledge is not that great.
I think most people's Junior Mafia knowledge is pretty low. I don't know anyone that can name every member of the Junior Mafia. That's weird if you could.
Biggie's presence is really heavy in this whole album, which makes it super dope. Because Biggie is one of the greatest of all times, hands down. And for me, listening to Lil Kim, you could really see her influence by Biggie. I feel like her flows and her style is like really Biggie-esque. And if Biggie was absent from this album, I don't think it would be as good.
Yep.
I think he has a strong presence in it.
Yeah, that's true.
Should we get into maybe the first track? Or
yeah. Big Mama Thing?
Big Mama Thing. Pretty tight classic 90s beat. I felt definitely flow like Biggie. I was reading the research that actually she wrote this it was a diss track to Faith Evans and Tupac. But Biggie disapproved and took out the middle verse and put Jay-Z in there, and they made her rewrite the final verse, which is super interesting.
Obviously, the title is a reference to Big Daddy Kane, Big Daddy Thing, his second album. But the sample is the same sample that he used on his third album, Taste of Chocolate.
Oh,
and if you look at that single, Jay-Z and Positive K are in Big Daddy Kane's Taste of Chocolate video. And he's on the song. Kind of
drawing, connecting the dots.
Yeah, connecting all the dots.
Who made the beat? I forget who made it. Stretch Armstrong.
Like I completely forgot that he made beats. Like, but yeah, Stretch Armstrong made. And another weird thing is that like every verse is like 20 bars, and Jay-Z, because it's replaced, Jay-Z only wrote 16. So like at the end of his verse, there's just 4 bars of just instrumental, and then it goes into the hook again. And I always wonder, like, why is there just 4? Why did he just stop rapping? But like, yeah,
I feel like that was a continual thing through the whole album. Like some of it like was not classical structure of 16, 8-bar hook or whatever. There's just kind of randomness of like bar lengths, and then people just come in for 4 bars or something. And they'll go back to another verse.
The actual diss song against Tupac and Faith is actually like, it's a pretty decent diss song. Although like this album came out like 2 months after Tupac died, so that would have been a bad look.
Oof, yeah.
So
I think Lil Kim though, as an MC, she's pretty dope. She's got a really dope flow and structure, but content-wise, through this album, in my opinion, I mean, it's cool because it's like it's very sexually explicit through the whole album, but I don't think there's like as much interesting like wordplay, you know, like conceptually. But there's cool just like pronunciation and style. She's got a really dope style, and I think she's a dope MC. But it's very different than like, you know, a lot of other MCs.
Yeah, I think I really like her flow. Just like which is mostly copied from Biggie.
Right.
So he probably definitely, like, if he wasn't writing the lyrics, he definitely helped her out with like how to say certain things.
You can tell. But let me get into this. Let's get into the next track. Let's segue into the No Time featuring Puff Daddy. I do not like Diddy. I don't like him.
Just across the board.
I think his hook in this song, not good. Not like, I think it's mixed bad. It's not a really good hook. No offense, I'm sure there's a bunch of Diddy songs that I'm like sleeping on or I just don't know. It's produced by him. But this was one of the singles, and I watched the video for it, and it's like one of my least favorite songs on the album. And the video is really strange. They're just like standing on the escalator talking about Cristal. which is very
Oh,
referenced multiple times in the album. So
it was brand new at the time.
General like overview. There's a lot of crystal drinking, sucking dick, and licking clit.
There you go. Well, I mean, what else do you need, really? It's called hardcore. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I'm not complaining. I thought it was an entertaining album.
And that video was filmed in the World Trade Center.
Whoa.
That's the escalator.
Heavy.
Yeah.
Free always dropping the interesting side. Footnote King.
Yeah. I think this was the first single, and it didn't really like it's the least memorable single that they put out. It's probably, like I said, like "Crush on You" was much bigger, but she was pregnant with Biggie's baby, so I guess like mentally she wasn't in the right space to like write a verse for it or something. So they still just went ahead and finished it with just Lil C's. Cameron wrote the whole thing, and they put it on the album. And I mean, it's a dope song, but if she didn't really have anything for it, I always wondered why they just didn't put it on the album. Like they could have just taken it off and just gave it to C's.
Yeah.
I don't know. Seems weird, but
it's a cut though. It's one of my favorite songs on the album. You know, because the beat slaps.
Yeah, it's great.
You know, you can still play it, and people will definitely nod their head to it.
And that video is pretty iconic. I mean, with the different colors.
Right.
And that's kind of started her like starting wearing like different color wigs, which she's kind of famous for now.
All right, what's next?
What else we got?
Drugs.
This is one of my favorite beats on the album, and it's produced by Fabian Hamilton, which is a dude I've never heard of, and I can't find any other information about him. I don't think he's produced anything noteworthy since that. This is the only thing he's produced, and this is one of the best beats on the whole album.
I agree. I took my little notes have little stars by all the dope beats. So this one definitely had stars on it, and I really dug this beat and a really cool hook. The line that I wrote down, which I rewinded a couple times, was "Inhale this, clench your fist, then you feel the mist through the uterus. Can you picture this?" Wow, yeah. Wow, Kim.
I think this may be one of the first songs that sample Bumpy's Lament. That sample is most famous for like Dr. Dre's Explosive, and also Bag Lady, Erykah Badu. Okay. It's the same sample, so it's probably most famous for that. But that was like in '99, in 2000, and like this is like '96, and I couldn't find anyone else that sampled it before then, which seems weird.
That's super
and he's the first guy to just discover this sample, and then he just never makes another beat again.
I also like the next beat a lot too.
Oh, Queen Bitch, yeah. Yeah, this is Hitman. Carlos Brody and Nasheem Myrick, which are both P. Diddy's hitmen.
And there's also, this track has like the random 4 lines from Biggie that just come in out of nowhere, which is like, it's cool. It sounds great because it's Biggie, but it's just like such an interesting song structure. Like, I don't know how people write or like come to those ideas. Like maybe it's writer's block. Like, okay, you come in for 4 bars, then I'll go after you.
He's not credited in any of the writing. I don't think his name pops up anywhere. So I think he wanted to push Kim out there. Like he wanted it to be her project. So he doesn't really pop up that much. So what else we got?
Dreams, produced by Prestige. This is one where she's like having a dream that she's having sex with all the R&B rappers.
Yeah, which is a reference to Biggie's Dreams.
What did you think of the Dreams track? Because I mean,
I liked it. It was, like I said, it was a reference to Biggie's Dreams. So I thought it was kind of cool that they did like basically a female version of it. The Harlem's Boys Choir line is a bit much. When she's having sex with the Harlem Boys. Yeah, that's a bit much, but like everything else is pretty funny. So overall, do you understand why this is considered a classic?
I read some quote saying that it was like the first female rap artist to have 2 #1 consecutive singles. So, you know, for the statistics in the album, I think it would be considered a classic. I think it's a very classic boom bap 90s era. You know, the beats are strong, the lyrics are strong. It sticks to a theme.
It definitely sticks to the theme. Like if nothing else, definitely sticks to the hardcore theme.
I gotta say this though too, because I like how, you know, it's, you know, Lil Kim's doing like the pornography hardcore reference, you know, throughout the whole thing. Because I'm also a big Kool Keith fan, and you know, I listened to a lot of Sex Style, Matthew, Erotic Man growing up. I love that shit, you know. So to hear it like in a different format, it's pretty cool. You know, it's pretty dope. My critique would be also, I'm not super stoked on the content because of the lyrics. because there's a lot of like repetitive, like crystal sipping, you know, money spending. I'm making that up. Sorry. But do you see where I'm coming from?
There's nothing wrong with talking about this one thing if you want to talk about that, but she's talking about it in the same way. I guess is what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Some consider her the queen of rap. Would you agree with this? Controversial?
No, I wouldn't.
Who would be your top choices?
As far as the queen of rap? Oh, I don't know. I mean, you got to go back to the actual queen, Latifah. I think you'd have to go back to like '88 with like MC Lyte and you know Roxanne Shante, you know Salt and Pepper. It'd have to be one of those groups.
Interesting theory. You're looking at longevity and you know.
Well, influence.
I would bring this up though because I'm a big Missy Elliott fan, and Missy Elliott's still making music now that I really enjoy. That I'm surprised her verses are super dope, creative, and if Lil Kim is considered the queen of rap, I feel like it was for a certain period of time because I don't feel like I don't know. I think she came out with an album recently. I didn't listen to it, so I shouldn't say anything. But you know, I still like Missy Elliott, how she's still putting out music and it's still solid. You know? Yeah,
I mean, Missy Elliott is just like the queen of just like everything from the videos, her production, the style, like everything about her is just like so iconic.
Would you consider this a classic album?
Yeah, because I can't think of anything like before it that did what it did. Like it was this female rapper that was talking the way that she was talking, and obviously she's not the first, clearly, but like at the time we were kind of in a dry spell. There weren't like a lot of female rappers that were doing this, and what she did influenced like so many rappers, you know, from then on.
What would you rate it? 1 to 10. 0 to 10.
I say I give it an 8.
Oh.
I give it an 8 because I think the production carries it like really far, and production is like top notch. Like if we're talking production, I give it like a 9.5. Crush on You, Drugs, Queen Bee, like that section of the album is just like your head almost explodes. It's so good.
Yeah.
So
those like 3 songs in a row are just like the heat.
Yeah, so it's just so good, like back to back. So and then like to have Biggie, one of the greatest rappers of all time,
rest in peace.
Like definitely like influence, if not writing the whole thing, at least influencing it and writing it with her. That definitely helped it out. So yeah, I'd say it's an 8. The only thing the reason why it's not a 10, I would say just because, like you were saying, there's not a lot of variety. I don't think like lyrically it's really like she's really doing a whole lot like as far as like lyrical. Like her flow is interesting just because I think it's mostly influenced by Biggie, so her flow, the way she puts different words together is cool. Right. But like lyrically it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of boilerplate.
And I was going to say maybe a 7.5, 8. Yeah, I agree with you, Free, because I criticize it for this because it's a 15-track album and it's got 4 skits. So I felt like it's not a full album completely because of the skits. But I felt like, you know, that's one of my critiques of it. It's still a dope album. The beats are dope. Her flow is dope. So.
And you can skip the skits.
You can skip the skits.
All right, so anybody out there watching, have you heard Hardcore? Are you still bumping it to this day? We're going to keep talking about albums until we run out. Until then, we're 2 guys on the internet that don't know everything. Peace.